Okay, I want to welcome everybody to the 2018 CNPS conference here at Storrs, Connecticut, at the University of Connecticut, in the Mansfield Room and Nathan Hale Inn. So if you happen to be in the area, that's how you can find us. I want to thank everybody for coming, but I also want to apologize for our half an hour late start. It turned out to be a switch on the splitter that I finally found out. We got that problem resolved, and we are live, and I want to thank everybody who's watching us live around the world. Remember, if you are watching live around the world, we really would appreciate any type of donation. Helps our organization, and I want to thank specifically our two donors. I won't give them by name, but two generous donors to allow us to have this broadcast. Several thousands of dollars is allowing us to have this broadcast in multicam. So I want to thank you all for coming and participating online. You can follow us, obviously. There's a chat. We will be attending that. Franklin Hugh, who is our host for our Saturday mornings, will be attending the chat. And so if you do have any questions, I know there are quite a few people who couldn't make it. We will be monitoring that. So let's get right into it. I want to welcome everybody, like I said. Thanks for coming. Why is it, I figured the first thing we need to talk about is why is it important to have these face-to-face conferences? Why do we do that? With today, you can do everything online. Well, here's some of the reasons I put together. Face-to-face human conversations, there really is nothing like that. Being surrounded only by critical thinkers who actually listen, care, and give constructive feedback. How many people have that at home? Not very many of us. We have to go to internet, email chains, video conferencing. So you are actually with people who will listen to you and, give you great feedback. That's really important. So those people who are thinking about coming, it is absolutely worth it just for that. We have, actually, and you think about this, I was thinking about this, 4 to 5 days of nonstop critical thinking. We're not mowing the lawn, we're not worrying about cooking our dinner, we're not worrying about other things going on in our lives. We actually have 24/7 of eating, dreaming, and discussing all things critical thinkers discuss. And the number one comment I get back from people who have come, and I've convinced them to come, is they say, I got some of my best ideas, feedback, inspiration going to the conference. So yeah, everybody here talking about things. There's usually a topic that sort of goes to the surface, that kind of thing. So definitely worth you guys thinking, especially you guys online, thinking of actually coming. Next year we'll be on the West Coast. We try to do East Coast, West Coast. I do have an opening statement from Peter Marquardt. For those of you who are new to this organization, I actually started in being involved with this organization back in 1996. I was only 36 at the time, and I met some of the most incredible minds on planet Earth, and these guys were critical thinkers. And of course, that's a generation ago, and many of those people, I get very nostalgic. I don't want to start talking about it. I get very emotional about all the people who've already passed on, who have left their mark, and who have made this possible for us to continue. And Peter Marquardt is also a person that has been with the organization at least that long. And he sent from Germany a greeting here, which I will read to everyone. It says, "Dear fellow upstream swimmers, congratulations to all for keeping up the good work and for organizing it. I'd love to be with you, but my second best leg does not allow me much traveling. Storrs and Nathan Hale bring back beautiful and also melancholic memories. It was my first and therefore favorite place in the United States to meet so many members of a great dissident family. Remember, if they, in quotes, the downstream swimmers, aka the establishment, don't listen to or respond to us, we know very well why. I wish you a jolly good meeting with lots of excellent impressions, and equally important, lots of fun too. Greetings from far away, distant and crazy," it has an asterisk, Germany. Peter, and the asterisk refers to, because he's a German, and he's always making comment this way. It says, not only it's being crazy, Germany, because it's reported they have Einstein's brain, well, at least a slice of it in Münster, 100 miles from Cologne. So I really want to appreciate it. I hope, Peter, you're watching. I'm sure if you're not watching it live, I want to thank you. I miss you dearly. You're quite an amazing mind, and I agree with you. One of the great reasons I came back here with the group is I figured it was a nice way to get back, where Eberly Spencer had many of the meetings in the math department here, and we're just so grateful to those people who kept us alive, and of course Peter's saying do the same. So let's keep moving forward. The keys, I'm thinking about where we are today. It's a little bit more, it's a little different. We live in a different age, and keys to the CNPS's growth. I will say it's not on the slide, but we are now at 300 active members worldwide. Those are people who have paid in the last 3 years, because some people will pay, come, go, that thing. But we are continuing to grow. We grow with new members every month, and people are paying their dues. We're at the highest level of dues paying because of the automated system. We have dedicated what we need to do is have dedicated and serious time spent on new marketing by all members, active members. And we're going to be talking about that on Saturday, but I'll show you some of that today. The most important thing is supporting fellow critical thinkers, not supporting a particular theory. I have my YouTube channel. I started last year, May of 2017. I now have almost 3,000 subscribers. One of the things I'm getting subscribers are from people from different groups like Electric Universe. And before we would always think, well, no, I'm going to fight against what I think is right, against what they think is right. And I finally realized something very, 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 very important. They are creating critical thinkers. You don't have to agree with Electric Universe. You don't have to agree with the guy sitting next to you. But we have to agree that we know we are in a minority, and we have to get out of our head that we are the only ones right and everybody has to follow our lead. We need to be creating critical thinkers. The best theories will shake out. We're not going to have to choose that. But we need to understand that, oh, they're from this group, or the Tesla group, or the other group. We need to applaud every one of those groups because they're like us. They're trying to critically think. They don't have, again, you don't have to agree with them, but what are they doing? They're going against the mainstream. How many here have been affected in their lives by doing that? So one of the things we're doing, and I'm doing on YouTube, my YouTube channel, I'm getting a lot of people Electric Universe because I applaud them every time. I have my news, dissident news, almost weekly, and I talk about everybody's stuff. Why? Because these people are putting it on the line. They are, and that's something I think very important for us to try to understand. Bruce Nappy, of course, has given us a lot of activities to, in fact, point this out that you guys will see. Members are the organization. Well, we do not have an endowment. We don't have grants coming in of $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 a year. So, complaining that we don't have something or this isn't happening, this is pretty much self-serve. There's no organization to do it for us unless we do find a wealthy donor. So it's imperative that we all do something, and I'm going to be talking about that. What do members do now? Well, they have their personal websites. That took some time, actually. And they have published paper in public databases. I see that a lot. People say, well, I don't want to put it in the proceedings. I'm going, you want to put it everywhere. I don't understand that. But they put them in. This is what people do. That's fine. We argue amongst ourselves in email chains. In the beginning of this, I was one of the forefront people in the mid-2000s to get this online. You don't believe how many people were complaining, I'm not going to use email. So we have advanced. Papers and websites get lost in the noise. Let's face it, this is true. Now, I'm not here to say to people to discourage them from doing it. Do it. But we have plans. Bruce and I and some other people have plans of how to change this. And there are ways to do this. We need something new, obviously. New way of thinking. Support all fellow critical thinkers and not worry if we agree with them. That's really important. What happens? Well, people come into our forums or into these email chains, what do they see? Oh, critical thinkers discussing new ideas and supporting each other. How many people can raise their hand and say that's true? No, we fight amongst ourselves. And it's okay to fight on certain issues, but what you end up doing is you end up getting yourself entrenched in a corner and fighting against someone else. And you're even losing track of what what we're ultimately trying to do, and that's argue a certain point. I'm not saying all of them are this way, but it's often perceived this way. We need to use tools of today to market, inform, and teach critical thinking and science, change our focus from convincing mainstreamers to change to cultivating new critical thinkers. Become science woke. And my YouTube channel, they're starting to call me the Bernie Sanders of science. Why? Because I'm waking people up that, hey, what mainstream's telling you isn't exactly what's happening. I have one subscriber who said, Dave, I knew that I was politically woke. I've been economically woke to find that income inequality. I've been health-wise woke. I have been environmentally woke. I always thought that maybe science also had that same problem. And believe it or not, she came to my channel and goes, Eureka, this is what I thought could be happening, and she's telling her friends to subscribe. Why? Because we are in a climate where critical thinking is being used for all areas. We have the ability to jump on that train. And that's really great because 85% of the millennials, the young generation in this country, are critical thinkers because they see things on, politician says this, they go and they see a recording of the politician saying something way different. So we have these great opportunities ahead of us. Right tools are already in place. Let's take a look at what we have. This is pretty much my effort. Also, who helped out with the database was Greg Volk. But main website, basically I made a website one time because I said, okay, this website's really not the best in the world. So I made one, sort of started getting people in it. For 6 months I fought the entire organization because they thought I was trying to take it over. And that was interesting. Of course I was not. I was just trying to make them a website. And then we have our database. We have, not the biggest database in the world. There's a guy in France who has over 5,000 or 6,000 dissidents categorized, and I'm trying to get that into a database by category. He has like 30 or 40 or 50 categories of what these dissidents do. Wikipedia, we started in 2016. We got our own dedicated server because I'm a computer scientist. I actually installed the exact same software as Wikipedia, and that is ours. We now have 13,000 pages in that. I took all the database and I shoved it into Wikipedia. I'll tell you why these things are important. Forums, we got those going with Bruce Nappy. Thank you so much, Bruce. And that is now extremely organized. I mean, it's amazing. And then we started in 2017 our YouTube channels, and those are going very well. We're getting people new every day. In development, we have two very, 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 very important things that we need to do. One's criticalthinkers.info, and that is a total marketing website. You go there, you can click on scientists, and it's got fun facts. It looks like somebody wrote a magazine about baseball players or Hollywood stars. Why? You've got to get people interested in the people who are doing it. We have one for flaws, mainstream flaws. We have new theories. And the idea is to get them hooked. You've got to get their attention in a very short amount of time. And what happens? Well, once you get that and get them interested, then they have to go somewhere. Then they have to learn something. Well, I got an email in, I think it was last year, I don't remember when, from a group of physics students who were 17 from Tibet, Nepal. They had seen my YouTube channel. And they said, we thought that all the confidence that we were seeing by Neil deGrasse Tyson and all these people was because they were so certain they were right. And what they said to us, because we're finding out that actually it seems to be arrogance. It doesn't seem to be the people that are asking us and telling us that these truths because they think they're truths. And they said, we don't want to go into physics because all we're going to do is specialize in a specialize in a specialize in a specialization. And we want to change science. They go, where do they learn? Where do they go? Where do they go and take a course on dissident science in the 21st century? Where can I learn about that? Oh, where's the encyclopedia? Oh, Ron Hatch, Dr. William Lewis, Dr. Bill Lucas. Where can I read about that? I want to do a report in high school on it. Do we have it? We have a little bit of it. We're not even ready. I have 3 faucets. I've got one faucet on, which is thousands of subscribers and those people coming in our direction. I've got another faucet that I just found a couple months ago, which is Dissident News, which I'm doing every week. And that is real popular. And my subscriber said, you're going to get to 100,000 subscribers that way. We've got another idea. I came up with another idea. I'm working on it right now. I'm not going to talk about it. Yes, my subscribers out there know it who are watching. It is capable of getting millions of people's eyes. Now, when we get all these, if I were to do this today, are we ready as an organization? Are they going to go digging through the papers themselves to find a great paper? One of Cameron, your great paper. I did one. You saw. I did a YouTube thing on. You can use Newton to describe the velocity of stars on the edge of the galaxy. You don't need dark matter. It's a great paper. Are they going to find that on their own? So we need to do something about that. So we have our active vloggers. We have 4 of us. Myself, my father, Nick Percival, and Jeff Yee. He's a great new young mind, getting young people in here. We have over 3,000 subscribers amongst us with over 60,000 views. One of my videos has almost 7,000 views. This is in less than a year. Encyclopedia, we have wiki.nationalphilosophy.org. Go in, put your name in. Are you happy with someone saying, oh, this is my scientific... You guys, we have amazing people. No one knows it. Did you go in and fill your biography as if someone wrote you? Isn't that a wonderful thing? All your life's work and all the things you did. What did you give the world? That's why we're doing this. That's why we do this. So, do you have that? We have an online meeting place for the forums. We have that. Our landing site, The Critical Thinkers. It's there. We've been working on it. It's not public. And then, of course, the university, which is the t-shirt. Make sure you pick up your t-shirt if you're here at the conference. So we're going to be talking about that on Saturday. We're already starting. I already have one course, and that is how to be a teacher on the course. So I'll show you that. Marketing equals survival and growth. That's it. We can't fool ourselves anymore. This organization will not grow. All our work will be for naught if we don't all sit down and start taking marketing serious. Serious marketing time by all my active members is required for CNPS to survive and grow. That's period. That's it. I mean, if you're interested that I want to do my work and I hope the world finds it, that's absolutely great. This is a free society. But if we want to get this stuff out and change science, it ain't going to happen by it all sort of being, we get together, have our little things, go off, everyone says, it's crackpot, and go on. Each member must spend X amount of minutes or hours each week on targeted marketing. If you are a vlogger like my father, he does. He spends hours doing that, and his followers, his subscribers, he get an update, and he gains subscribers with time. Electric Universe started 2008. You know how many subscribers the Electric Universe has right now? 110,000. You know when they get to put out one video, you know how many people see it in a day? 17,000. Why is it not happening with us? Well, we're trying to do that. The CNPS will post necessary steps and activity to promote itself and its members. And I will tell you, I have this real simple philosophy, and I'm going to tell you right to your face. We are going to do this. It's already becoming successful. And what's going to force you to do it is that it's successful, and you don't want to be left behind. That's what's going to happen. And I'm not doing this for punishment. I'm just telling you right away. Can you get ahead of it? Yeah. If we had done this 10 years ago, we'd have over 100,000 subscribers. And we have a lot of people in this conference. Okay? All right, let's take a look at what a featured member will look at, since we have people here. A full encyclopedic biography on our wiki. If someone were to look you up in the encyclopedia, would you have everything in there that would describe you as the amazing critical mind thinker you are? Because why does Einstein's Facebook page have a ridiculous 19 million people following it? Because they like the human story. It's part of us as humans. That's the way it works. So I'm telling you the steps right now. You need to do these things. Pull papers and books on the wiki. We're phasing out, we're putting the papers in the database into the wiki. If you write in share latex and you're published in our proceedings, I wrote a converter that will convert that latex into wiki, and we'll be putting every one of those into a wiki. Wikis are searched on titles, topics, and the words themselves. So if you put your papers in the wiki, they're going to be searched. They're going to be indexable. We need a modern HD photo. This is my father. I took one. I want to give you an example of what a modern photo looks like. You know, you're looking like, what's this guy looking at? It's like, he looks serious. This is what we need. This is what draws people in. You know, you got to make it. My daughter's, studying to become an actress and all that. She's really good at it. You know what the number one thing they complain about headshots? It doesn't look like you and it doesn't communicate who you are. We have headshots. People want to see, oh, who's this camera guy? What's he look like? What's he do? Okay? We need to marketing hooks and stories. I'll show you some of them. This is from our criticalthinkers.info. We have some of the amazing progress outside the mainstream. This is from the live, this is out there. You can't get to it. I don't let people see it yet. We're working on it. Here's one. Universities are failing at science education. There's a person holding up a sign. I can't challenge Einstein at my university. Then we can look at the critical thinkers themselves. And here's a picture. These are already up there. So if you do your mouse over, you get this little thing with Cynthia Whitney, and it says, female who got her PhD from MIT in physics in the 1960s. Well, you click on that, and you get some information there. Oh, I just made it bigger so you can see it. And then you get this. This is the modern world. This is what you would open up if Time magazine made a little page about each one of us. It says right here, mind blown. Female with PhD from MIT in physics and relativity, who is now a critic of relativity. You go, wow, MIT, woman, physics, relativity. She did her PhD on it, and she's now criticizing it. You see the profession, you see all that stuff where she's from, all that, and he says, aha moment. Did a finite speed of gravity propagation cause, her question, did finite speed of gravity propagation cause the spiral pattern of the galaxies to develop? And then I tell a story. This is the story. It doesn't say, she's an MIT fact and she works on, it doesn't get anybody. Here's the way the story goes. This is something I wrote here. Okay, so you're a high school student who just took an adjunct course in physics at MIT, and you fell in love with science. It's the early 1960s, though you are a female. So what do? You find out, you fill out the application at MIT and neglect to apply to any other school. You get accepted since there are no options left and your parents have to let you go to MIT. That's a true story. What does that do? Do you think the person's going to be interested now in reading about her and her work? Is this better than even our encyclopedic thing doesn't do this? But now they're going to do what? I have a link on this page that goes to her Wikipedia. Now you can make a report on her. Now you can find out those kinds of information. You can see how all this is linked. Flaws in mainstream science, black holes, plate tectonics, creation of matter from nothing. We as an organization on Saturday, we need to start sitting down saying, what are these things? Because the first thing that comes, there's no problems, everything's okay, right? We need to do that. Well, how do you do it? Let's just take one that I know. Flaws in mainstream science. It says severity. I put the scale on severity, fatal. And I put plate tectonics is coming under increasing challenge by alternative theories that have mounting evidence. And then under here you read it. So we tell them at this isn't really great. Why? Because David D. Hilster only has so much time in his life and I have a full-time job like lots of people do. But we can make these things super interesting. What makes it, when I tell somebody about it, what makes it interesting to them? And they have highlighted flaws. Well, then we have articles on here. We can write articles. This is a WordPress. And we write an article for the average person to read. Then with that, we have all our database entries, which I can bring up just with the database by putting in a keyword, and those all fall on the page automatically. And here it is, flaws in mainstream science. It says, pole plot fits perfectly onto an expanding Earth. Why did I pick this one? I asked James Maxwell, who is the guy. There's nobody who's looked at more evidence for expanding Earth and has more than him. So what made you switch? He says, when I plotted the South Pole on an expanding Earth, it was perfect. He said, I couldn't have denied after that. Well, let's talk about it. Let's use that. If that convinced this guy, then it convinced somebody else. Here are some theories. And of course, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to get emails. Dave, you put your theory up and everybody else. I said, I'm telling everybody to do it. You're not doing it. Guess what? You're behind. Guess what? I told you what I said. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for our stuff. And if you complain, the only person to blame is yourself, not me. Sorry. I like you guys immensely. That's why I'm up here. I'm your greatest fans. Okay, university. This came from that story. I don't need to tell it again, from the 17-year-olds. I said, where are they going to learn it? I have subscribers on my YouTube channel that homeschool. They know that this is coming. They're waiting for it. They're going to teach their kids stuff from here. Let's take a look at some of the courses. Oh, it's taught by today's top critical thinkers. I see some of them here today. Let's see, 1, 2. Numbers of them are here today. Oh, there's Ray, there's Musa. The people who aren't in this picture, you're out of the university. No, I'm just kidding, I'm kidding. Here's some of the courses. Infinity. There's nobody better to talk about that than Glenn Borker. This is a course we're going to be developing. Electrical engineering with the particle model. My dad's electrical engineer. Our particle model shows one possible explanation physically of what's going on in them. You're going to take a course in it. So if you want to find out, electrical engineers use a system that works quite well. If you ask most of them, probably almost all of them will say, it's not really what's happening physically. I'd be very interested to find that out, especially from an electrical engineer who has a career that spanned over 40 years in research and was one of the best ones I've known. Human consciousness, that was from, was that George? Who knows his name? From last year.
Duncan's friend from last year, right?
Huh?
That was Duncan's friend, right, from last year?
Yeah, Duncan's friend, yeah. Anyways, I apologize. George, I'm pretty sure it's George. But George, I listened to it, I said, this is going to be new age stuff. No, it is absolutely great. It's all computer science kind of stuff, which I love. I'm a computer scientist. So, it's going to be a course. It's going to make us think a little different. It's open. How do we do this? Well, I spent a lot of time researching all they're called I always forget this, learning management systems. What's a learning management system? Khan Academy is a learning management system. It's a cloud-based system where you can make courses online, where you can have anybody take them. That's what we can do. Well, I'm going to give you people at this conference a way to get into this, and no one else can get into it. You go become an instructor. Dave D. Hilster made a course using Easy Class for you to learn how to make courses. You go in there and you put in it says, all right, enter code there. It tells you all the things to do, and you enter this code. Well, what do? You go to, this is from actually the easycourse.org or .com, I can't remember, don't worry. It is an open source, it's in Europe, they're doing it specifically to allow people to teach from long distance, like ourselves, made for that. You log in, and then you get assignments. Here's the Easy Class instructors. There's a lot more that goes down there. Assignments. Watch Easy Class intro video. Edit your profile on Easy Class. Read through the instructor help. Create 4 test courses. And it goes on. It's a course to tell you how to make courses. I see Bill's taking notes. All right. I expect lots of courses. I expect Bill to be just like, all kinds of courses. And here you can see the course and people who we've already sort of got. When I was working with this, I was talking with people. There's assignments. You can grade people. You can see their progress. You can and do things. And what is it? It's an online university. What's the fastest growing universities on the planet? Online. The little ones in little buildings have become huge and making lots of money and educating people all around the world. And all of a sudden, what is happening? The big universities are doing the same thing. You can go to big universities, and I think can't you even at MIT? You can take online courses for free. Some of them, for free.
All of them.
All of them. That's even more than some. Okay, so Saturday we're going to have a marketing meeting, Critical Thinkers website. You guys are here. If you're going to be here, we're going to tell you how to become one of the featured scientists. It's not because you're good or bad. We want everybody to be featured. But if you're smart and you want your stuff to be out there, great. If it's not your thing, great too. You can be a member of this organization and not do any of this. I'm not here to say. But I'm saying if we don't do this, we're not going to get new people involved. And we have all the things in place to do that. And of course, the university website, we are going to start having courses. One of the first courses I'm going to write, and I'm going to try to get Greg Volk to write, is a overview of dissident science. Who are the big guys? Who are the players? There are people coming to our organization who don't know that. So, with or without you, this will happen. Hopefully with you. So, what's the conclusion? I've been building tools for 10 years now on the internet. Everything is in place. I don't see anything else we need. We are a self-serve organization. We, like Picasso, must spend time on marketing, an integral part of our organizational human effort. Why? Picasso, I'm an artist myself. I grew up drawing from a very early age. I've been in museums and stuff like that. Picasso to me is an amazing artist, but there's something more amazing about him that people don't know. Besides being able to sit down and draw your portrait for real, even though he did abstract. This is what he did. When he was in the prime of his career, he would call all the people who wanted his works together into one small room. And then he would come out and look around, and he had all these new works that everybody wanted. And he knew politically, he knew everybody. And he'd pick this one person, he'd pick them in orders to make everybody mad and jealous and want things. What was he doing? One of the reasons Picasso is so great is because we know about him. Not only because he's great, because there's great artists that people sort of discover, and then all of a sudden, many years later, we need to market ourselves. That's really important. So I want to first thank all of you for coming here. I really appreciate some people came even from outside the country. We have more people coming later on. And it is really, really important for us to try to get to our attitude, like I said, of let's support each other. We don't have to agree with anything that person's doing. But if you put yourself into what they are doing and what their passion is, and try to understand where they're coming from, and help them out with theirs. One of the most poignant moments, things that really changed my outlook on this, was when we had Dr. Alexander Unziker, the guy who was fighting and interviewing the people from the particle accelerators and the Large Hadron Collider, and he's out there running the Higgs fake. Someone asked him a question, well, I'm working on my own theory, what do I do? On top of that, everyone should support the other person doing it. You don't have to agree with any of it. But that's the way we push forward. We're small in number right now. We don't need to fight amongst ourselves. We need to fight about ideas. Great. But if you're sitting next to a person who goes, that's the craziest theory, that's all wrong. How do you know? That's not a great attitude. We need to change that attitude. And then a lot of people in this room have been changing that. So thank you very much. And I do want to thank specifically a person who's been working as much as me, maybe even more, and that is Bruce Nappy in the back of the room. And I'd like to give him a round of applause. He is spending hours a day on doing this stuff, and some of the activities we're doing are going to be really great. So thank you very much. Thank you all. How many people do we have online? 2?
We have 11 watching now.
Oh, 11. Well, thank you so much.
11 watching now.
All right. Do we have any questions from anybody before we get on to Bruce Nappy? Any questions? Probably fearful to ask me any questions after I've been up here. Anybody online have any questions? No? Yes, you have a question. Go ahead, turn on your mic there so everybody can hear you.
Yes, my question is about critical thinking. So you're encouraging us, the members of the group, to support one another, but of course part of the spirit of this whole group is critical thinking, and the essence of critical thinking, I think, is to criticize, or at least to look for, flaws in what someone is saying. And so can you talk a little bit about what is helpful critical thinking as opposed to what you consider to be unhelpful critical thinking, especially because, of course, everybody or many people have encountered rejection by the mainstream community. Rejection is, it seems to me, very similar to critical thinking, or it's the same thing. I mean, to sort of sum it up, can you please elaborate on the distinction between a critical thinking that you think is healthy versus, I guess, disagreement or rejection or whatever you think is unhealthy? Can you please clarify the distinction between those two?
Yes, I can. And it really has to do with really the community of critical thinkers. If you go through the early 70s and 80s, the critical thinkers started to find each other. And at that point, you were, and this is really a microcosm. So let's take you as an example. You're working, you're a critical thinker on your own, and you're working on something. You get extremely passionate. Many people come to this organization, don't even know other people are doing this, or even thinking about that. There are so many cases of people who found Einstein wrong in so many ways, because there's so many problems. And then when they come, they have an emotional need to let that out, to talk about it, to be accepted. And what happens is if you come into a mature critical thinking group, they're going to tear you apart on some things. You're going to say, well, I take energy over here and this, I got 3 things over here in energy. And someone says energy, is a concept, it's not real. And then all of a sudden you get into the emotional part. So the problem is, really, as we humans, we become attached emotionally to what we do. And that gets in the way of critical thinking. Because the truth is that we have to suspend, we are in a time, the second answer to that, one is emotion, okay? The second thing is we are in a period in science, in my opinion, where we are in a paradigm shift time. Something is going to happen. When you go from one thing to another, like the internet didn't all of a sudden explode and everything became useful overnight. There are companies that existed that don't exist. Netscape, what's it, Squarespace or whatever. You know, there's lots of cases of failures everywhere. We right now are in an area where we are, in my opinion, in this paradigm shift. When you have that, we have to understand that. And understanding that means we have to accept lots of different ideas now and understand that those are going to have to live together until things start shaking out. And this group has actually shown over the years certain things. Vocabulary is huge. Before we didn't care, we just use words willy-nilly. So the problem with the conflicts, what I'm talking about is the emotional side gets in the way, and us to not recognize that we are not in an age right now where it's just, oh, we're all doing, this is the standard model. There are competing ideas out there, and we don't know. And that's where the critical thinking and the fighting should go on. But if someone comes up and talks about their model, you're just sitting back there, this is all garbage. I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to try to put the way I think is you have to emotionally get rid of that and say, okay, what's this person doing? Well, what does that take? That says, I have to recognize that right now, no one has the answer. So ether could be right, lattice theories could be right, action at a distance theories could be right, the particle model may be right, or it's a combination. So it's an absolutely great question. Yes, critical thinking is important. We got to do that. But we have to recognize we're not in the fine-tuning stage. We discovered a new continent, and everybody's building different cities that we think are going to be better than where we came from because it was a bad place. And that's my explanation, those two things. Okay? Any other questions? Okay. Any questions from the people? Okay, then we'll stop this recording. Go ahead and put your button there. Okay, all right, go ahead. Just do start it again. Hey, we're new to this. Okay, we had the question. Somebody read that question. Give him the microphone or something like that. Grab that microphone. I think it's already on. Check it. Push the button. Hold on to it.
Is this?
Flip it on, the switch.
No, it's not flip. It's a different one.
Now it's on.
There you go. Thank you.
Question from someone.
Closer to your mouth, please.
Question from someone labeled as Draft Science on the website. How can we force interaction with the establishment?
Okay, I know exactly who he is. I think you may know too, Frank Line. This is an inside joke. Draft Science, thank you for tuning in. Our answer, we've talked about much of stuff, we do not, it's useless to interact with the mainstream. Why are we going to, it's never been the case. The first thing that when I became a dissident scientist in the early 1990s, I met Riccardo Carrazzani, who showed Einstein wrong in 1940s, a PhD in physics. First thing I did was go to the library because they didn't have the internet in the early 1990, 91, and I took every book I could out on science, history of science. I didn't find one example of where mainstream shifted. All I found was mainstream fighting until they died and a new generation coming out. This is something that people say all the time. I even found a book who told the truth about Newton. Newton retired, became the head of the mint, and spent the rest of his days arguing his theories amongst his peers. You don't hear that part. So the answer to Draft Science to me is, it's a waste of time. That's my question, my answer.
Okay, there's another question from Pal. How can dissidence paradigm can compete with mainstreamer power behind their paradigm?
Okay, the answer to that question is the same way. How does America change a policy in the United States? We change it by the majority changing, and everybody has to change. The only difference in this case is that almost everyone, we can change all of society. And the people who are left, this is what happens in science. We shift it. Let's say we do everything. We get millions of subscribers. We have everything ready. We have our sites, and it is humming. Our conference now has hundreds of people, and people are really abuzz with this. Do you think that all the universities are going to be changing? Nope. Those guys are going to hold on to it until they die. That's what I would say. So Again, the idea of how it changes, we make the majority. We make us the mainstream, so that after a couple hundred years, they laugh at us, and we're in trouble because we get stuck in our ways. But hopefully that will change. But no, the way you don't change it again, you make a new mainstream. My opinion. Any other questions? Well, thanks for watching, everybody. All right, we'll shut this down. Let's take a